Settle yourself gently into the softness of your pillow. Let the weight of the day slip away as easy as a leaf falling from a tree. You are safe. You are still. And as your eyes close, imagine a different light. Not the bright glare of a screen, but the warm, dancing glow of a single candle. We are going back in time, back to a quiet town in 15th century Germany, to a small workshop where something patient and beautiful is about to be born. This is the story of the silent press. The town was Mainz, and the year was somewhere around 1450. The narrow cobbled streets were quiet in the late afternoon. The air was cool and carried the familiar smells of a medieval town: wood smoke from the chimneys, fresh bread from a nearby bakery, and the faint, clean scent of the River Rhine moving slowly through the heart of the city. But in one particular workshop, tucked away from the noise of everyday life, the smells were entirely different. Here the air was rich with the sharp, oily tang of ink, the sweetness of linseed, and the dry, earthy perfume of paper. This was the workshop of Johannes Gutenberg, a place where the loudest sounds were not shouts or clanging hammers, but softer, more patient noises, the gentle scrape of a craftsman's tool, the quiet settling of metal, and the deep, thoughtful silence of a man in love with his work. Gutenberg himself was not a young man. He was in his 50s, with the kind of hands that told a story of their own. They were hands that had worked with metal since his youth, hands that knew the secrets of goldsmithing and the precise, unforgiving craft of making small, beautiful things. But now these hands were busy with something entirely new. They moved slowly, carefully, not because of age, but because of the deep, quiet respect he held for the work. There was no hurry. The world outside might rush, but in this room, time moved at the pace of creation. Let us look around this small, peaceful workshop. The first thing you might notice is the light. The windows were not large, and the glass was thick and uneven, letting in a soft, filtered glow. But the main light came from a cluster of candles on the large wooden workbench. Their flames were steady, having been shielded from any drafts by carefully placed wooden boards. The candlelight flickered very softly, casting long, gentle shadows that danced across the stone walls. It caught the edges of the metal tools that hung neatly on the wall, making them gleam with a soft, honey-colored warmth. The heart of the workshop was the press. It stood in the center of the room, a solid, heavy construction of oak and iron. It was not a loud machine. It did not whir or clank. It was a thing of weight and grace, a sleeping giant that would only be woken by a gentle pull on a wooden lever. Beside the press, on a series of long, slanted wooden racks, were the real treasures of this new world: the type. Hundreds and hundreds of tiny individual metal letters, each one a mirror image of a letter of the alphabet. They were made from an alloy of lead, tin, and antimony, a special recipe Gutenberg had perfected. Each tiny piece of type was cool to the touch and precisely formed. A lowercase a, a capital G, a delicate comma. They sat in their compartments, like families in a grand, silent city, patiently waiting to be chosen. Our craftsman steps towards the type case. His movements are slow and deliberate. He takes a composing stick, a small wooden tray held in one hand, and begins the quiet, rhythmic work of setting the type. This is the process of placing each metal letter one by one into a line and then another line to build a page. The only sound is the soft musical clink of metal touching metal. Tick, clink, tick. It is a careful, meditative sound, like the first drops of rain on a still pond. He chooses each letter with a practiced eye, his fingers remembering the exact position of every character in the wooden case. He is not just assembling words. He is knitting a silent textile out of lead and tin. His lips might move very slightly, but no sound comes out. He is reading the text in his mind, a prayer of patience. When a block of text is complete, it is tied tightly with string to hold it firm. Now it looks like a small, solid metallic island, a mirror of the page it will soon create. The craftsman places it carefully on the bed of the great press. He checks it, his hands moving lightly over the surface, feeling for any flaw. Then he reaches for the ink balls. These are soft, round pads made of leather and stuffed with wool, mounted on wooden handles. He dips them into the ink, a thick, glossy black substance he mixed himself from soot, linseed oil, and a little bit of resin to help it dry. The mixture smells rich and complex, like a forest floor after a rain, mixed with a secret ingredient of his own. He works the ink balls together, dab, 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 to spread the ink evenly, and then he dabs them over the raised surface of the type. The motion is gentle, up and down, a soft, satisfying rhythm. The black ink coats the tiny metal letters with a careful, even sheen, transforming them into dark, glistening jewels. Now comes the paper. He takes a single sheet of dampened paper from the stack beside him. It was made by hand from linen rags, and it is thick and soft, more like fabric than the paper we know today. He places it onto the type. The sheet settles with a soft, rustling sigh. He checks its position, his gentle fingers smoothing it into place. Then, with a quiet breath, he turns the great wooden handle of the press. The mechanism responds with a deep, slow groan, a sound of immense and patient power. The heavy iron plate, called the platen, descends and presses the paper firmly against the inked type. There is a moment of profound stillness, a held breath in the room. Then he reverses the handle. The platen rises, and he lifts the paper. What was a blank, empty sheet just a moment ago is now transformed. It holds a perfect impression of the text, sharp and clear. The letters are not faint or smudged. They are crisp and dark, as if they had been drawn by a master calligrapher, but executed in a fraction of the time. The craftsman studies it, holding it up to the candlelight. His face, which was concentrated and serious throughout the process, now softens with a quiet, deep-felt satisfaction. There is no loud cheer, no sharp victory cry, just a long, slow exhalation of breath, a silent nod of approval. He has done it. And in this quiet moment, the world has changed forever. He repeats the process, gently, patiently. With every pull of the press, a new page is born. A sheet for the Bible he is working on, a magnificent 2-volume, 42-line Bible that will become known as one of the most beautiful books ever created. But he is not thinking of fame. He is thinking of the next page, the next letter, the next gentle touch of ink on metal. The hours pass in a warm, quiet blur. Outside, the daylight fades. The sounds of the town die down. The only light in the workshop is the golden glow of the candles, their flames now a little shorter. But still he works, not with haste, but with a steady, unshakable rhythm, like a slow, calm pulse. By the time the moon is high in the black winter sky, a small stack of printed pages rests on the bench. They are still slightly damp, smelling of ink and oil. The craftsman takes them gently, handling them as if they were newborn creatures. He collates them with a quiet, satisfied hum. just a few notes of an old German hymn he learnt as a child. He then places them under a flat wooden board with a heavy stone on top to press them flat overnight. This, too, is part of the ritual. Pressing the pages, letting them rest, allowing the ink to fully set. The work is not finished when the press lever is released. It continues in the silence of the night, a quiet, patient transformation taking place in the dark. When the last page of the evening is laid down, the craftsman begins his own quiet ritual of cleaning. He carefully wipes the ink from the type with a soft rag dipped in a mild solvent, being careful not to damage the delicate metal. He cleans the ink balls, leaving them supple and ready for the next day. He checks the press, oiling a joint here, tightening a screw there. His movements are slow and filled with a profound tenderness for his tools. They are not just objects to him. They are partners in a silent dance of creation. The workshop, as he tidies it, becomes a place of deep restorative peace. The orderly type cases, the cleaned press, the neat stack of paper, they all seem to glow with a quiet inner light. Before he blows out the last candle, he stops. He stands in the middle of the room, holding a single printed page. He looks at it. The words are from the Bible, the most important text in his world, but in a way, the page itself is a new kind of scripture. He thinks about the many, many months he spent perfecting the metal alloy, the failed experiments, the broken tools, the quiet despair he sometimes felt. He thinks about the money he borrowed, the lawsuit he faced, the doubts others had. But here, in the silent night, there is no regret. There is only this page, this perfect, beautiful page. He walks over to a small, simple window. It is too dark to see anything clearly, but he can feel the cold, vast world outside. He imagines other people, in other towns, perhaps in other lands, holding a page just like this one. A page not written by hand, over the span of weeks, but printed. Every copy identical, true to the original, and yet each one capable of holding a universe of meaning. He thinks of the Benedictine monks in the scriptorium, spending a lifetime illuminating a single book, and he feels a deep and genuine respect for their work. But he also feels a quiet hum of hope. He believes his invention will not replace the beauty of the handmade book. It will instead free the written word. It will make knowledge affordable, accessible. A scholar in Paris will be able to read the same text as a student in Krakow. Ideas will spread, not like a wildfire, but like the slow, steady light of dawn, reaching into the darkest corners of ignorance. This is not a loud revolution. It is a silent one, carried on the shoulders of books, and he, Johannes Gutenberg, is not a great warrior or a powerful king. He is a man who loves the feel of paper and the smell of ink, a man who found patience in the cold heart of metal, a man who, through the slow, careful working of his hands, has made it possible for a single voice to speak to 1,000,000 ears. The candle flickers, a gentle reminder that the night is passing. He places the page safely in a cupboard next to its brothers and sisters. He takes a deep, contented breath in and lets it out very, very slowly. The work is good. The world is quiet. Then one by one he pinches out the candles. Each small, smoky wisp rises and dissolves into the darkness, leaving behind a clean, waxy scent. The workshop is now enveloped in a deep, peaceful darkness. The silent press stands like a guardian ready for another day, and somewhere, in the quietest part of the builder's contented heart, a gentle smile forms, knowing that the light of knowledge, once kindled, can never truly be extinguished. So tomorrow morning when the sun rises over Mainz, it will shine on a dusty workshop filled with the quiet hum of possibility. It will gleam on the metal type and the dark wooden press. And a small boy, an apprentice, will walk in, his eyes wide with wonder, ready to learn the secrets of this silent art from the patient master. And the story will continue. The quiet, beautiful, endless story of the printed word. Now, let your own thoughts rest. Let the image of the candlelit workshop, the gentle clink of metal type, and the soft groan of the press become part of your own peaceful dream. You have journeyed back through time, not to witness a battle or a dramatic change, but to feel the quiet pulse of creation, the kind of creation that happens when a thoughtful person, using his hands and his heart, makes something that didn't exist before. You have felt the peace of the workshop. Carry that peace with you into a deep and restful sleep.